name of the show is The Way to Go. My name is Alan Bendich. I'm going to be your host. Tonight we have a very special guest, Miss Nina Martinez, the beautiful Nina Martinez.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm so happy you finally got on the show.
I know, I finally arrived. You know, I only took a train, a plane, a bicycle, a tricycle. No.
Right. So I'm so happy that you're on the show. Another JT person.
I know, JT Casting. Holla.
And I have to thank JT for having this lovely young lady in the studio.
Oh, thank you.
So Nina, you're a singer, an actor, a writer. What did you first start doing? Were you a singer first? Or?
I was a singer first.
Right.
And I actually started singing when I was 2 years old, and I'll never forget the first time that I realized that I could sing was I was in the bathroom.
Right.
On the potty.
Right.
And I was going like this. I was going with my lips. I was like humming or whatever. And after that, it was just constant singing and like dancing around the house. And
so your audience were your parents? Is that?
Not really, no. My situation was a little odd because my mom was there,
right.
And I was brought up in a kind of a single mother household.
Oh, I didn't
but
know.
really nobody was around, and nobody really facilitated that. And I don't say that,
to break my heart?
Yeah, to break your heart over here, like get
right.
the violins out. No, but I wasn't in like dance class. I didn't have the opportunities like most kids do that have that gift, My parents weren't around to facilitate that. So it was just something that was inside of me that I was just bursting at the seams.
And where were you at the time?
At the time, I was born in Ventura, California, and then migrated to Vegas later on.
Wow. So how long were you in Ventura?
I was in Ventura till I was in Ventura till I was 5, and then we moved into Fillmore, California, which was this tiny little town. It's a great little town. I have a lot of great memories there. And then when I was about 13, 14, we moved to Las Vegas. A lot of those memories are very shoddy because it was kind of a very stressful
What was it like living in Vegas? God.
Crazy.
Really?
For me, because I was on my own at a very young age, so I was kind of like I was at a sink or swim type of situation.
So when you say you were alone by yourself? I mean, what happened? I mean,
well, without giving too many details away, I mean, basically, my parents chose an alternative, which was to just not be there.
Okay.
Without going into detail.
No, but I'm saying, so what did you do? Did you start working?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I started working. That's what I meant. I bussed tables at a casino.
Wow.
Yeah, I did what I had to do.
Yeah, I was a busboy when I was younger too.
Yeah,
and a waiter,
mashed
and a
potatoes in the hair.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was a really good look.
And when did you get? I mean, did you get your a break? Was there like a first break in Vegas? Or?
There was. Actually, my first break came from Freddie Jackson.
Oh wow!
And I had an audition with a group called International Flavor. I was the Latin one, and then there was African American girl, and then a Filipino girl. And we made this group. Right. And we got right into the studio. I was so excited. I had never been in a studio before,
Wow.
This was all new. And we recorded about 5 songs. Of course, with any group, you always, and with females, Lord have mercy.
Right.
We had, a little bit of drama and stuff, so it didn't really last too long.
So when was this?
This was back in 2001.
Wow.
So, yeah.
I remember when I first went to Hollywood, before the first week I was there, I was staying with a Columbia Records artist, and Stanley Clarke was the person who was producing his album. And I was there a week, and I was in the studio with Stanley Clarke. So luck is a residue of design.
That's it. So,
it was great. So, what happened to the music? I mean, did it hit?
Yeah, no, I learned a lot.
Right.
I mean, I learned a lot. Then there was a few years I kind of took a step back and struggled, and I was just surviving. I mean,
and how old were you again when your first gig?
My first gig, I was 17.
Wow.
So, and I went through a lot. I went through a lot of struggles. There was many times I was eating grapefruits. That's all I had.
Right.
you know, because all my money went to pay rent.
That's healthy though, at least.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like I was at the best, you know, I
Mm-hmm.
was so tiny because I was always walking everywhere in 113-degree weather. I had no car.
Oh God.
So I would literally work 3 jobs and then go to auditions and do these other things.
Where did this come from? Where did this, I mean, like, it seems like you have so much motivation, drive.
I was not going to let my circumstances, you know, victimize me. No way.
That's great.
You know, I mean, everybody told me no. They said, you can't, don't sing, you can't do it.
Right, and you're beautiful now. That means you're always beautiful.
No, I used to be 220 pounds.
Oh, I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah,
wow.
yeah. So I've had kind of this evolution, you know, spiritually, physically. And so I always tell people you cannot allow your circumstances to victimize you. That is like the biggest thing that I can tell somebody, because that's how you can heal people with your art. You know, your art is an outward extension of all of those things, of the pain. You can turn that into spiritual medicine for other people.
Right.
And
you sound like my father.
Yeah, I'm an old soul. I've been around for quite a long time.
Well, that's great. So, so you were in Vegas.
Yes.
And so how long did you stay in Vegas?
I was in Vegas I grew up there, you know, my formidable years, went to high school and all that good stuff. And I have a lot of really good memories, but I have a lot of bad ones too, you know. And basically, in a nutshell, what happened was I fell in love and I bought a one-way ticket to Connecticut, never been here, didn't even know what it looked like, ended up here.
So you met your love in Vegas?
Not my current love, no. Not my current one, but I was engaged before.
Yes.
And anyhow, moved here, and long story short, 2 weeks before the wedding, we canceled.
Right.
I placed an ad on public access looking for a producer. Grammy Award-winning producer called me and said, listen, you know, I'd love to meet you. And I went down to the studio, and lo and behold, this guy had, you know, won Grammys with Mary J. Blige and Angie Stone, all these people. We really hit it off. Ended up working with this guy and releasing a dance record called Give Me Just One Night, which was on KTU.
Oh, cool.
And it took off,
wow.
and it took off in Brazil and in the United Kingdom and Sweden and some other places. And then I really just, after that record, I kind of harnessed all my, you know, my other musical endeavors like songwriting and writing in multiple genres. And then I happened to, just by chance, be going by a McDonald's rest stop, and I saw a Radio Disney van. And a lot of people don't know this about me because now I do rock music, which is completely different than what I was doing before. And I was passing by, and I stopped. I told my best friend, let me stop. I want to see what this is. Right. So I went up to the guy, and because, you know, I don't care, you know, like I just do what I feel. So I started singing a cappella for the guy. Ended up getting hired with ABC Networks.
Wow.
Ended up doing a tour with Radio Disney and with pop music. And one of my songs was actually in the movie Bar Hopping with Scott Baio and Tom Arnold on HBO. And, you know, just been building my resume ever since. I got a licensing deal with MTV with my first album entitled Give Me Just One Night. And I'm really appreciative of everybody that's kind of remained my fan, you know. I mean, I have a lot of wonderful people that support me out of Brazil and from my first record on. And now that I've kind of made this transition to now, you know, writing and directing my own mini movie music videos with my partner in crime, Edward Figueroa, which is also my fiance, you know, we've kind of taken it to now this next level.
And I was fortunate to see that at the Urban Action showcase. Actually, I saw, and it was beautiful. I mean,
that means a lot.
It was really beautiful. I mean, the cinematography was beautiful. Everything, every aspect of it was like, wow, a visual sensation. You know.
Thank you. That means a lot to us.
It was great, and
we work hard. You know, I mean, we're like nonstop. Those are 3-day shoots, and we're just hustling.
Question. I mean, so has music videos been the transition for you from singing to acting?
Yes.
Interesting.
Definitely.
I think that's done. Yeah, it's an interesting. I never thought of it that way, but that's probably.
Neither did I. I mean, I didn't really. It was weird because when we first started doing these mini movie music videos, we never really intended to do that.
But they're definitely they're like movies. Those are definitely movies. I mean, it's not like it's not just a music video. Definitely not.
Right. Yeah. There's characters and there's, you know, the storyline and thank you.
It's a real production.
Thank you. And I realized how much I enjoyed it.
Right.
You know, I said, wow, I said, this is like, I don't want to say it's easy because that's not right. You know, that's not the right word I'm looking for, but it felt right.
Right. Well, when things feel right, sometimes it is easy because it doesn't feel like work anymore.
Right, exactly.
So
that's
it is
what I mean.
easy.
I was enjoying myself.
Right.
You know, I was into it.
And how great is it when your work is something that you enjoy doing?
I know, right?
It's great.
That's so true. That's so true.
So, so you've done those, and so how did you go from like to the next step, which is like leaving that part and then going to like acting? You know.
Honestly, I don't know. I mean, when I was doing the music videos, I mean, it was acting. You know, there was a scene where I had to jump off of a roof and land, and you know, do all these different stunts, and I had no training. Like I had no idea what I was doing.
Did you hurt yourself at all? Or,
yeah, I did. But you know, for the sake of the shot, I did what I had to do.
It's amazing.
You know?
You don't really feel it that much.
No,
you know?
until after, and then you're like, oh crap! Now you know what these people go through.
But while you're doing it, the adrenaline and all this stuff just keeps you going.
Yeah,
right?
and I was so focused on, you know, here I'm playing kind of these very powerful, you know, woman-empowered characters, you know, and every one I'm playing this kind of superhero character.
Right.
So I was, at that point and moment in time, I was this Mohawk girl and this like, you know.
Isn't it great that you could feel that, I mean, you are that character?
Yeah, you become the character.
Know. Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah, it is.
I know.
You know?
It's like a vacation from yourself almost. It's like, you know.
It is. I like that. I never thought of that before.
Well, that's good. So what other, what projects have you worked on since?
Well, since then, you know, again, like we were discussing before we started taping, was I haven't auditioned for anything. I just kind of have been offered these roles, and I'm so grateful. I'm in a film called Sex, Blood, and Fairy Tales, where I'm playing a drugged out, strung out mommy dearest character. It's a very, you know, Quentin Tarantino-esque type of film.
Like it. Yeah.
And, you know, I'm really a wild child. Like, I'm schizophrenic. I'm just all these different things.
That's not like you. You're
well,
actually
you know, it depends on the day. You ask me, you know.
Right.
So I'm in that. I'm also in Christopher Piccone's new film.
Oh, you're in Chris Piccone's new film?
Yes,
oh, cool.
yes. And I'm playing this sexy secretary character, you know, Marissa Tomei.
I think you could pull that off pretty well.
I'm going to try, you know. I'm going to try. And what else am I going to be in?
So are you working on? Do you have the scripts at this point, or?
No, not yet. Well, for Sex, Blood, and Fairy Tales, yes.
So, but it's funny though, you know, you get the part, and then, like 2 weeks before they start shooting, they give you the script, and it's like.
Oh, and I was an Esquire. I played a news reporter. That was another short film that I was in.
But you ever notice that sometimes that they'll give you the script like 2 weeks before, even though you've had the part for a month, and it's like, why don't they give it to you for a month away so you could start looking at the script? But maybe they're always refining the script or whatever.
I always find too. Oh, and I was in Scars of a Predator.
Me too.
I forgot about that one.
Me too. I was the judge in that one.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. That's great. But I really love it, you know, and I'm very grateful, and I'm looking forward to showing really what I can do, because I feel like I can, you know, I can do any character, so I just need the opportunity.
It is interesting. It's like a self-fulfilling thing. I mean, you feel good about yourself when you do it, and hopefully people appreciate it.
Definitely.
You know, it's interesting.
Definitely.
The whole acting thing. I always wonder what the motivation is, because for myself,
it's all egotistical. Everything.
That's what I'm thinking.
It's all for ourselves, really.
I wonder if that's really it. You know,
it's kind of healing too.
Oh, there's
because
no question.
You're working out all the things internally inside of yourself that
Absolutely.
are maybe your demons. You know, you're kind of like.
Like I'm putting together this other show called Scriptless, whatever, and a lot of it is like. It's really me. This, you know, all these different parts of me are maybe a little bit exaggerated or whatever, but it's like
they're all parts of you.
Yeah, it's weird.
Oh, and I almost forgot to mention we are actually also writing and producing for Ice-T's new artist, Zaim, and what we've done is Edward and myself have done taken 3 songs and created a long cinematic film out of all
Cool.
of them.
And I think I saw a picture of you on Facebook with Ice-T.
Yes, yes. Oh, he's great. Yeah, he's fantastic.
Yeah, well, he's been.
It was nice because he's like, I know those guys. I was like, yes.
Yes, he's been very. He's been very successful. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, very successful.
And how he made that transition. I mean, seamless.
Just like with Richard Belzer too. The transition to Law and Order was like, how did this, comedian become like this actor? But it's great. It's wonderful. You know, and
really
comedians do make good actors. That's one thing. Good stand-ups, for whatever reason.
That's one thing I'd love to do, because I do comedy, but
well,
I
you
just
definitely have. You're not shy. right?
I'm an extroverted invert. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I know what you
Yeah.
mean. But when the
But
camera's
when the camera's on, I'm on. Yeah,
that's it.
it's weird.
I know
Yeah.
exactly what you mean because I even at Q&As and things like that when I'm going to film festivals, when I'm on stage, my knees start going like this.
Yeah,
But
me
as soon as the camera
me
comes
too.
on,
I
it's
get
like
so nervous.
it's like
I
whatever.
did Showtime at the Apollo.
Oh,
I went
cool.
3 times
Wow.
with Aretha Franklin's Respect.
Oh God.
And I was so nervous. Oh my God.
Wow.
Like I went on actually right before Bianca Ryan, which was the first America's Got Talent winner.
Oh wow.
So there's this little girl going out there and she's belting it. She's like 11. And then I go on, which it was fine. Thank God I wasn't in her age category. But, these are the things that you always have to mentally prepare. You never know,
Yeah, that's
what's
true.
going to happen.
You always have to be ready. You have to
Yeah.
be ready. We're going to see, actually, my wife and I are going to see America's Got Talent on Friday. We got tickets in Jersey.
Oh, lucky you.
Yeah, well, anyone could have gotten them.
Oh, nice. Well, there you go. I was almost on the X Factor. I came so close.
Cool.
I went 3 rounds, and then but I'm going to go again.
But I don't watch that stuff. My wife does. My wife is like addicted to all reality TV and
Yeah.
stuff. But me, I'm addicted to Facebook and doing my shows and stuff.
Well, at least you know your addiction, so
Right, I know my
that's
addictions.
key. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's key.
So you said writing too? Like
Yes.
what type of stuff do you write?
Well, we're actually working on my story as well, which is called Little Girl Lost and Found. It talks about everything that I went through in detail, and kind of, it's a story about redemption. It's a story about survival. It really, I wanted to take people there. And everybody has a struggle. And as I have gotten older, I recognize that everybody has a story, but it's what you do with it. How do you rise to the occasion? How do you overcome those things? Because you can so easily, there were so many times I could have so easily just really gone the wrong way.
I know what you mean.
I had so many opportunities too.
I was brought up in the Bronx. A lot of my friends in the 60s and 70s never made it.
Yeah.
They just bit the
Yeah,
dust.
exactly.
So,
me too.
and all you had to do is turn left instead of turning right,
I
and that's the
know.
whole thing. But
Yeah.
but you turned right, and,
Yeah.
and then you lived. But you know what? Before we go any further, you brought a clip that you'd like to share with us.
Yeah, that would be great.
Would that be okay?
Yeah, that would be wonderful.
Okay, so let's take a look at this clip, because and I know that you'll be very impressed with it. Okay.
To the jungle, we've got fun and games. We've got everything you want. Honey, we know the names. We are the people that can find whatever you may need. And if you got the money, honey, we've got your disease in the jungle.
Thank you so much. All my actors, all our crew, all of you.
Baby, we had it all once upon a time. And without in your arms, I feel like I could fly. You're the one that heals my soul. The precious thing I hold. You're my one true love.
Wow, what an excellent sizzle reel! I can't believe it. That's wonderful.
Thank
and you look as
you.
beautiful in the reel as you do in person.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. I really appreciate
But
that.
you also, you're so talented. It's amazing. Where does talent come from? I always wonder, like, you
It's
look
a
at,
gift.
It is a gift.
Definitely, yeah.
And it's not something, you can't teach talent. I think
I don't think so. Yeah, no. I never did well in classes. I'm like an unbridled horse that just cannot be.
But,
I do well just in front of the camera. Just put me in my element and I'm
could see.
okay.
Yeah, you just have
But
so
box
much
me
energy.
up and forget it. I'm ready to just bust out.
Right.
It was the same way in school too. I was always dreaming and not focusing, and because I really wasn't. And again, I'm an artist. I didn't really care about math.
Right. And that's
Even though I'm not saying that school isn't good, because it is. It's an essential part.
Yeah, but how often do you use calculus when you go into the store or something? Like,
I
okay,
know.
let me figure out what's the limit to this or whatever. I mean, to
Yeah.
me, you learn all this stuff, and what's the purpose in it? Especially,
True.
I'm 58 years old, and my wife and I have this discussion because my daughter's going nuts with school, and it's like, you take physics. What are you going to be, a physicist?
Right,
I mean,
right.
what's the sense of that? I
Yeah,
mean,
all these impractical.
yeah, it's impractical.
Yeah.
Right? But I think it's a way to limit the amount of people that apply to certain schools. I think it's like a weeding out process, I think.
Yeah, that's true. Or when you open up your left brain so much and you're focused on that, you really don't have time to develop your right
And
brain.
that is absolutely true.
And right-brained people are free-spirited people. Right-brained people are who change the world.
That's it.
With art, you have the power to change the world.
I agree with you, definitely. And like I think maybe even going to like the dyslexic aspect of it too.
Oh, I'm dyslexic too, actually.
Dyslexic people, there's more CEOs percentage-wise of big corporations. Why? Because they have who are
really?
dyslexic. If you look in the general population versus people who have dyslexia, there's more dyslexia percentage. It's skewed to the dyslexic population.
Really? I didn't realize
I mean,
that.
there's tons of dyslexic CEOs.
Wow.
So it's really interesting,
always
and that's
had
the
that
creative
problem.
aspect.
Yeah.
And
Seeing
it's-
things differently.
Like
too,
I have a
totally.
cousin, my cousin Joshua. I hope I'm not telling stories out of school, but he had a lot of difficulty in school. He went to the Navy, and then he learned electronics, and then he became like he when you go to concerts and you see the big screens, his company is one of the, I mean, he did the George W. Bush, maybe I shouldn't say that, inaugural. I mean, they use his videos. I mean, he went on, Christina Aguilera tour, Madonna tour. He had to go off the Madonna tour because he was getting married. So, I mean, and he's
great.
dyslexic. But yet,
Yeah,
I
think it
he's
assists
artistic.
you. Like it's not, it doesn't assist you with calculus,
Right.
but it assists you in tapping into whatever that is, or
Right.
seeing things in a different perspective. That's kind of how I've taken it.
Right, and I agree with you. And the other thing is that you learn to do things differently.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you have to be creative
Oh,
because
yeah,
you
'cause
can't.
you don't have a
because
choice.
all your life, people are saying, if you're
No,
dyslexic,
no,
you're like,
yeah.
what's the matter? You can't read?
Right,
whatever.
exactly, yeah.
But you're smart. It's just that
You know the material.
Yeah,
It's
just that
not
your
the
brain
same
doesn't
way.
work the same way.
Exactly.
And you're still
exactly.
learning, and you're still bright, but you learn differently.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
it's a rough world out there, and people and kids could bullies and all this
Oh,
stuff.
I went through bullying. Yeah, that's what the book is about, Little Girl Lost and Found. It's about the bullying. I mean, I remember one time I was walking home from school, and they would start pelting me with pumpkins.
Right.
My legs, I mean, I would run home, and they'd say, "You're a fat pig." And then I would go home, and I'd be abused again.
Oh my God.
So it never ended. And my only solstice, my only comfort was the TV and the radio. Because I sang.
Right.
So I would just lock myself in my room, away from the world, and I would just sing. And I didn't go out of the room. I stayed alone. But that's when I really honed my skills.
You know something? The interesting thing about
probably good
my
for
life
me.
too was like I didn't have that many friends when I was a kid, and I used to entertain myself, and I would do even
Yeah.
my own little stuff, my own little world. I created
Yeah.
my own little world, and then I used to have pleasure in like entertaining other people.
Yes.
But most of the time I was alone to my own devices. So maybe that's something also that's common to people who are actors.
I think
wonder,
so,
or to
yeah.
who have to they have to express themselves.
They have to. And it's almost
Because
like
the
that's
bottle-
the outlet,
Right.
yeah.
Maybe it's like a pressure cooker that has to explode.
Yeah, probably.
It's interesting.
Yeah, with the music, with all that, with the acting. I mean,
So, so
arts.
what's the future look like for you?
The future, God willing, I wanna change the world with my art. It's very simple. It's
And
not
you're doing
a
it
big
already.
feat.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, I'll tell you, going back to the Urban Action Showcase, your stuff was like really professional. I mean,
thank
and
you.
and there were a lot of other booths and other people showing their stuff. But when I sat down, I didn't know what to expect. And it was like, wow, I was really blown away. And then to hear the
thank
story
you.
of all the people you've known, Ashford and Simpson, and your own story. I mean, it's just, to me, it's just, It's amazing. You know, you pass people by in the street, you don't even know what's going on, and then to actually sit down and speak with someone who's an artist to find out how wonderful their experiences are. And the future looks bright for you. I know that. JT,
thank you.
JT said that you're one of his best people that he puts you up with the best.
Oh, that's so nice.
And
well, I aim to just be, you know, as great an actor, as great a singer as I possibly can. That's my goal.
Well, he says that you're the best, and
thank you.
And that's why
He's the best.
No,
JT's the best.
No, JT's the best, but he knows who he's working with that has real talent, and that's why when I was working on my project, he suggested you. And I said,
that's
"Wait,"
so nice.
but I said, you know, and we talked about it, and I figured, yeah, it's a little too risque. But maybe.
Well, you know, you never know.
Yeah,
I mean,
but there's always going to be other
yeah, I'm a host as well. I did hosting for ITV as well,
that's cool.
and for ABC networks. So I kind of, you know, do I do a lot of different things.
Right.
You know.
I think
So.
a person who is outgoing and entertaining and has confidence, and.
Oh, I'm a good actor. This confidence is just acting.
That's the whole thing. I mean, they always say like, whatever.
Peel
it
off
is,
all the layers. Let's get
that's
down
it.
to the core.
When you get to confidence, that's where it comes. I mean,
Isn't it true though? Yeah.
Because if you're not confident,
I
it doesn't
know.
play well to the camera.
No, it doesn't.
Right. But if
You're
you are
right.
confident, people are drawn to you.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
So and if you're good looking and confident, then people are really drawn to you.
I'm learning. I'm learning to be
So
confident.
how do you keep people away from you? You know what I mean? It's like
That's tricky. That's tricky. But you got to remember where I come from. I was an overweight kid that was bullied.
Yeah, but
so for me, it's weird.
right. So the thing is, now that
I've shed those
now that people are
layers.
drawn to you, like like
Yeah,
flies,
it's odd for me.
Whatever, you know.
It's odd. I
So-
want to run and hide.
You want to? So you did you ever enjoy it when the transition happened, or was it always something that was uncomfortable?
No, it was always uncomfortable. It still is.
And it's like
But
why
when
didn't
I'm
you
on
like me
stage,
then?
I'm okay.
Yeah, because there's also the
Because I'm
separation.
away from people.
Right.
I'm not. They can't touch me when I'm on stage.
Right. That's why I like
You know?
bartending too. I could be very outgoing. I was a bartender for
Yeah.
13 years. Why? Because I could say anything I want.
Yeah.
And they got the bar. You can't.
Right. There's like that dividing line,
That's
you
it.
know. But when
Yeah.
it's just, you know, an
When
intimate
one to
thing.
one, it's like.
Yeah.
And I was a
Had a
fat kid
problem
when
last night.
I was a fat kid when I was a
Oh,
child.
you were too. Okay.
And I was called Fatty by my brother and all his
Oh,
friends.
yeah.
And I was bullied. I was the shortest and fattest kid in my
I know
school.
it's horrible. I had a purple jacket. I looked like Barney. It was
And
horrible.
that's one of the reasons why I was also always alone in my house, because I was the fat kid.
Right. Exactly.
And then,
Yeah.
but it changed. But I still am the fat kid. You know, no matter
Yeah.
what.
Exactly. You're
So-
still inside.
So I meant
you
take a
know?
picture. Like I have some pictures. I say, wow, that guy looks good, but that's not me. You know?
Right. Exactly.
So
yeah.
it really messes with your self-esteem.
It does.
Because
it
when,
does.
especially when people bully you.
Oh yeah, and
put you
I
down.
got it around the clock, so it never ended for me.
I know. Same thing with
You
me.
know.
And every time I had to work with my brother and his friends, and they tortured me.
I know.
See, this is
I've
on
been there.
tape. So this is forever, but it's true. Yeah, but my brother
Well, the
and
truth is the truth, you know.
But my brother and I are good friends now, and we support each other and all
That's
that.
good.
But
That's
I'll tell
really
you, I went
good.
through hell. You know,
I know, I
because it's tough being
understand.
the fat kid, where the
It
only pleasure you get is
is.
eating. and
Yeah.
all that
Oh
stuff.
yeah.
But now you
that
know
was
what?
my drug, though.
The
you
same thing for
see.
me. But
Yeah.
now
I would eat a
acting-
whole cake.
But now
and I didn't
acting
even
and
like
performing is my drug.
it. Right. Exactly.
And that's where I get my pleasure.
Me too.
And that's the best pleasure, I think, out of everything. And yeah,
Yeah.
sorry, Wendy, but it's the thing that gives me the most pleasure in life is really acting, or doing this, or having this kind of,
Yeah.
just
No, I
doing
get
this,
it.
you know?
Yeah. No, I get it. Mm-hmm.
There's nothing
No,
like it.
is.
It's the best.
And you help other people too.
Yeah, you know, and you know what really stinks, though? I have to admit that when the interviews really go well, they
Yeah.
go really quickly, and it really bothers
Is it
me.
over already? The ride's over. Let's go again.
Well, there'll be. I mean, you're definitely invited again, but
Oh,
you know,
nice, nice.
it was really wonderful.
Oh, thank
Nita
you.
Martinez. Maybe next time you could bring in your fiance, because
Yeah,
he would be a
absolutely.
fascinating.
Oh, he would love it.
Okay, but there's,
he would
you know,
love it.
again, there's only one thing
I
left
know.
to say.
I know.
That's a wrap. Good night, folks.
Sweet thing, honey pie, looking good, caught my eye. I dig your vibe, your smile. Come here, let's talk for a while. I'm loving your company, feeling the electricity. Can't explain this chemistry, something's coming over me.